Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to this session and attending London Calling. And thank you to the wonderful sponsors, without who we wouldn't be able to make this event possible. So we are here to talk about cookies. That's a very light introduction to cookies. I'm not a cookie expert, but you'll see it. So if you are cookie expert already, this session is not for you. It's really like demystifying what cookies are. So who am I? My name is Fabien Taillon. I'm French, as you can hear, I guess. I'm a Salesforce MVP Hall of Fame. Thank you. I'm also CTO at TechSay. So we are a French consulting company based in Paris. I'm also running the Paris developer group for like more than 10 years. And I'm part of a French Start Dreaming team, which is the same kind of event, community-led event, but in Paris. The event this year will be in December 3rd, and the call for speaker is still open. Tickets are still on sale, so if you want a good excuse to come and visit Paris at the end of the year, this is for you. You can follow me on Twitter, and we have a good blog on TechSay. If you have any question later, I'm really responsive on Twitter, so feel free to contact me there. So what are cookies? So the beginning of the idea of this talk is that there have been several updates recently, either on Salesforce side or on browser side, and every time it's like, yeah, something will break, what is it? So I don't really know cookies, I need to dig in, and each time I'm like, that feels very, very complicated, all this word, third party, change to an ends domain, SameSite, etc. And every time I look at what it is exactly, I discover it's not that complicated, actually. It's actually even pretty simple. But there are just so many stuff to look at that the whole picture seems complicated. It's like, wow, what the fuck is all this shit? But actually, it's not. It's pretty simple. The idea of this talk is really to look at what cookies are, explain a few of these words, so that you will get a better understanding about all these terms when you use them, when you hear them later. Oh, by the way, before I forget, because I'm really into the talk, we have some biscuits here. So before leaving the room, please come and get one. So first, why cookies? Well, cookies is just a way to let you have a more personalized experience on websites. So it could be either save some settings that you will select, save a shopping cart until you go to the end of the process, save a session ID when you are connected, stuff like that. So a way to save on your computer some information. But really, what is it? Well, really, basically, what it is just a file with a list of key pair value. So a name and a value. And basically, cookie is just that. And so it could be something like this. So you can have a cookie name, a value, and the domain which is associated to it. So one domain will, of course, have only one value per name, but then you can have the same name and different value for different websites. And this information, when you visit one website, this information will be sent to the website you're currently visited. So if I'm going to type mysite.com, the cookie name and value will be sent, and the other one won't. That basically is the main ID. So let's take a very simple example. Let's say you have a website where you want to activate dark mode, for instance. So basically, you have your website that is on a server somewhere. You will have heaps of computers that are connected to this website and will get the page. But then, if you are not connected, actually, so you don't have a session active, well, there is no way for the server to know whether you selected dark mode or not. So you can just go to the website, load the page, click dark mode. But then if you refresh, the server don't know it's the same computer or another computer, because you could say there is IP or whatever, but all this computer could be behind like a proxy, for instance, would have the same IP, so you definitely not want to check on IP. I change dark mode, and the other one would be dark mode activated too. No, they need a way to know which computer selected dark mode. So this is done via a cookie. And basically, you will call the web page. Web page will be displayed on your computer. You will select dark mode, and just a keeper value of dark mode will be saved to your computer. Next time you call the server, the cookie is sent, and it will return with the dark mode activated. So let's have a look about session handling, for instance. So how does it work? If I want to log in to any web page, I will just go to the login page, log in, enter my credential, etc. Then a cookie will be set with the response. So we'll get the response page, and the cookie will be saved with, it's a random name, could be whatever name actually. Like for instance, session ID and a number that will be a session ID. And next time you will call the page that is on this web server, the cookie will be sent, so the server will know you're connected and will display you the correct information. So basically, I go to Salesforce, I try to type one name of a page, like home page. There is no cookie. Salesforce is returning the login page because you're not connected. You use the exact same URL once the cookie is set. The server knows you are connected. The session cookie is valid. It will return you the information. But then when you look at these two examples, dark mode and then session ID, there is something that is not, it is quite confusing actually. So why? Is it really the same use case? On one side, you have just the basic stuff like dark mode. On the other side, you have a session ID. And if you compare both, I mean, dark mode is just the CSS stuff. Your computer needs to do it, needs to know it. Like JavaScript would read the cookie, see you are dark mode, switch one or the other. And the server doesn't even really need to know that you selected dark mode or not. It could be done only from the front. On the other hand, session ID, the server really needs to do the session ID, but it's not very sure that the JavaScript locally is supposed to be able to access this session ID. It's more like a flow. There is no reason for local JavaScript to access your credential. So it's the same tech use, but for, I think, two very different use cases. One basic display on the front that server doesn't need to know. The other stuff, which is secure stuff, and it's the other way around. Local JavaScript shouldn't have access to it. But why? It's just that this was created in 1994, and at the beginning, I mean, it was not designed with security and privacy in mind. So that's why years after years, you've seen a lot of change about how cookies are handled. So let's see about a few improvements that were done on cookies. That's all the fancy name you'll see around. I'm not sure what they are. And you will see, I take 3 examples, and all of them are pretty simple, actually. So the first one is secure. So that means when you create a cookie, so it's like set cookie, you put name and value, and then you can add a few attributes to it to define where the attribute of the cookie itself. So secure is very basic. It's like if you are not visiting a website on HTTPS, the cookie is not sent, which is, I think, what you want, because if you want, you have, I mean, now Chrome doesn't let you connect to a website in HTTP, but before, let's say you connect to a website in HTTP, session ID is returned. If you're not on HTTPS, that means that the session ID, which is basically like a password, sort of, can be seen clearly by everyone on the road between you and the server. So having this kind of stuff is a very basic stuff that says, well, that's a session ID, never send it if the connection is unsecured. So I guess that may be the case of most cookies now. Second one is HTTP only. So this looks like what I was showing in my second example with the session ID on the computer. If you set HTTP only on the cookie itself as an attribute, it will prevent JavaScript from reading it. So even your own JavaScript, like you have your own website, and you try from your own JavaScript, from your domain, to read the session ID. There is no real reason you would do that, actually, because it's only used on the server to know you are connected, and that's it. And allowing local JavaScript to read this kind of cookie is a potential flaw, because that means that if you have some attacks like cross-site scripting, so basically what is it? It's like you are your own web page, you can read your own cookies, and JavaScript from another domain is not able to read them because it's from another website. But what if, for whatever reason, there is a flaw somewhere that lets you add JavaScript to your own page without you knowing it? This JavaScript will then run inside your own context, will be able to read your own cookie and send them to whatever, like evil server you can imagine. So if you just set You know it's a session ID. No one needs to read it, even yourself, because there is no like logic use case that your front JavaScript would use it. It's just set as HTTP only, and even if an attacker is able to put some JavaScript on your domain, it won't be able to read the session ID. So again, it may feel a little bit complicated, but when you look at what it actually means, it's pretty easy. JavaScript can't read it. You try to read it, return undefined. SameSite. This one's a little bit more tricky, but you have some slides after to give you an example. It's basically, is the cookie sent when you have cross-site requests? So what does that mean? So there are several, I won't go into all details, but basically there are several options that let you send it anyway, block it all the time, or something in the middle. But I will show you what is the kind of attack that can happen. So it's a kind of attack that is, of course, taking advantage of a flow, so it can't work with everything. But let's see a website like this, which actually is a poor design, but still, it could exist. You have like your CRM page, and you created an action that will delete some data. When you click on the delete button, it will redirect you to a second URL, doing some stuff, and when the stuff is finished, you move to a confirmation page. So there is one big issue with this kind of design, which is that if I click, I mean, it's me, I click, I know what I'm doing, I'm deleting data, there is no issue. Or yes, but this is a page with a specific URL. So what if I'm just able to take this URL, even send it to you via an email, and you click on it? Well, it will just delete the data without you knowing. When you know it, it's too late. So having this kind of page doing action just by opening the URL is already like a bad practice, but still it can happen. So even if I send it to you by email, you click on it because I put something like a fake, like a win a trip to whatever island, you click, you get on the page, you get the confirmation data. Well, first, that's not good, but second, you will be able to see that something happened, and you'll be like, oh, fuck, I made something wrong. So maybe you can act on it to fix the problem, maybe. Contact your IT or whatever. But there are some even more tricky use cases about this, which would be, as it's just an URL, of course, if it's my own CRM with very specific URLs, it's pretty unlikely that someone will know how to use the URL. But if it's a flow in big stuff like WordPress or whatever, well, they can just go on a website. So it will be a fake website like myfreetravel.com. And somewhere on the page, I will put an iframe. So it's a part of the page that we call your specific URL that wouldn't even be displayed. So you would just open the page, see all the islands, the boat, and people swimming in the sea. And we're like, oh, that's cool. But then behind the scene, this page will also show your page. And if you're logged into like WordPress or whatever website that has a flow, it will just interact with the data, delete data, or whatever was the action that is done automatically. And you will do stuff without even knowing. So it's even worse than the previous use case. So the SameSite stuff is preventing this kind of stuff. It's saying, well, if I'm calling this web page from another domain than the one that I'm currently viewing, we won't send the cookie that is set as SameSite. So if you have a session ID, for instance, you will put the attribute to SameSite. And if someone tries to use this kind of flows in the URL, well, it's not the same domain. Here is mycrm.com, here is myevalsite.com. So the SameSite attribute is set. It's two different stuff. They won't send it. So this kind of flow won't work. So it's all this kind of small stuff that maybe should have been designed from the beginning, I don't know. But that have been added, small additions, small easy stuff to fix this kind of small flaws in the process of a cookie. So let's have a look to third-party cookies because it's lots of talks right now. So what is third-party cookies? Well, it was used to track you when you visit a website. So what's happening? Let's say you visit two websites, a bike one and a travel agency one. And you have like cookies from Facebook because they've added the like button and stuff like that. Facebook will create a cookie on your desktop. And then what's happening? Well, they don't know who you are. It's like user XXX. They don't know your name. They know who you are specifically. But they will know that you've been visiting this website and this website. And then that means that when you go to a third website, well, we've all seen that. We go to a website with a Blu-ray, and then you go to a second website, and then the ads are here. When you get there, they're also able to know that you are the same guy. They still don't know who you are, but they have all your history. So they are able to give you some ads related to what you've seen before. So when we look at this kind of stuff, it feels like a little bit intrusive, and there have been some stuff to try to prevent this kind of stuff. First thing being all this wonderful pop-up we've got on all websites, like do you want to accept cookie, which one do you want, blah, blah, blah. But then when you try to look at all the cookies that are available, well, usually it's something like this. And I mean, if the design is good, you have one button to do not accept main stuff, but otherwise, one by one is super painful. I mean, so it's not very, very good. So what's happening right now is that Chrome has started to plan to deprecate completely third-party cookies. And you can see that the planning is pretty aggressive, because so they already started to deprecate it for 1% of the user in Chrome, but starting 2025, so it's like in 6 months, third-party cookies won't work anymore in Chrome. So maybe it will be delayed, I don't know, but still that's pretty aggressive stuff. So there are already some stuff for you to plan it. So either there is like a Chrome extension that will let you try your website to see if it's working or not, and there are a few flags in Chrome. So you just use this URL and you can activate, deactivate. This is the main one, but there are like 2 or 3 different flags to activate. You can just activate and see if your website is working with it or not. So I actually activated it, and there are already a lot of stuff that are working. So I guess, I mean, I think that's why they put such aggressive roadmap to force everyone to start moving the website right now. So I've been activating this like a few months ago, and most of the websites are already working. So there are a few, on a Chrome page, there are a few options they will give you to move from third-party cookies to some other stuff. So the main idea is like to be able not to be tracked, but still let the website work. Because there is some use case with like iframe or stuff like that, where it makes sense to have some third-party cookies because you are on several domains. You just don't want to be tracked. So they try to give some options to let you still use third-party cookies for your own use case, but not for the use case of tracking user. So I just have a quick explanation about the first one, which is chips. So it's not this one. It will be better, but it's another one. So what is chips? So it stands for cookies having independent partition state. I'm sure they had an awesome meeting to try to find an acronym for it. And it's pretty simple to understand, actually. It's like before, except that the cookie that are set will be limited to the website you are seeing. So that means that you will visit 2 websites. You will be able to have 2 cookies, and you will have some information here, some information there, but then there is not one common cookie in the middle. So you're still the same person, just they don't know it anymore. But if you need third-party cookies in the context of this website, you can have how many third-party cookies you want, and they will still work in this context. There is not sharing with the other context. So it's supposed to help to maintain websites that are using third-party cookies for their own way they are working, but disable the possibility to being tracked. Well, I'm sure they will find something else, but that's a step. Just a quick word, because one of the reasons also I started looking to this is that Salesforce moved to enhanced domain, so it's already done now. But that's one of the reasons why Salesforce changed several URLs that may have broken some stuff. Maybe if you had some URL on your side, well, it's done now, so it's good. But it was because also of that, because they wanted to have like some specific domain moved to the same domain. So the files that were on document force, they moved everything to file.force.com. So it's force.com domain. That means they can interact and share cookies with some other part of the platform. So I took this example, but I think there was like several 10 or 20 changes that happened. But one of the reasons was this. You have several domains. If you have several domains, you may not share the cookie. If you move the URL to the same domain, then you are able to share the cookie between the same platform. So a few resources. So the first one is the one I already shared before with the print screen, which is information from Chrome about the phase-out they are doing on third-party cookies. The extension you can install to test your website if you need to. The only thing I found, I'm not a Marketing Cloud expert at all, but when I tried to look about stuff on Marketing Cloud, the only thing I saw is about Marketing Cloud engagement that was saying use chips, okay. But didn't saw a lot of stuff on Salesforce. But I mean, this is the kind of stuff that Salesforce will make work on, they will do the change for you, I think. So I don't think you really need to care about this. And I think that's it. If you have any question, just let me know. No question, really? You don't want a cookie? Yeah. So no, it was clear or it was unclear? It was very clear. Very clear? Okay.